Welcome to the second part of my portable retro gaming rigs presentation, the Robinson's Crate. Today I'm gonna look at the config and run some tests. See how this exotic architecture performs. It generates some weird sounds while it's booting. Gonna kick in a second. Here we go. Yeah, I'm using the fast Voodoo drivers for Voodoo 2 accelerator. Let's fire up AIDA 32 for start. Come on. So let's look at the summary. Yeah. So as you've already seen, we got the Windows Millennium system. Got a Transmeta Crusoe CPU with half a gig of RAM, of which 16 megabytes is reserved for the code morphing software, as I explained briefly in part 1. We've got an integrated Rage XL graphics adapter for displaying the desktop and 3dfx Voodoo 2 12 megabyte accelerator for 3D. There's also via AC97 audio controller and network adapter. Right. Now, if we move on to maybe let's see a bit more about the CPU. Yeah, the cache memories on that. And the instructions supported. Which is all emulated because, as I explained before, it's the very long instruction order architecture processor. So it all translates all x86 instructions on the fly. Now, looking at the memory SPD, it's a half gig DDR SDRAM module with the stated timing as follows. But we're gonna see something interesting in the actual North Bridge info. See, here the timings are actually much more aggressive, and that's because it runs on 66 MHz bus to achieve very low latency for the code morphing software, and that's gonna be confirmed in the memory tests. Let's do memory read first. So here got the result, 610 megabytes per second, which is like between fast PC100 and slow PC133 SDRAM. So that corresponds with the DDR memory running on 66 MHz roughly, and same scenario goes for the memory write. Here we are. Yeah, just 222 megabytes per second. Doesn't look very impressive, but it should be alright. So next, let's run maybe Quake for style. Let's run a time demo. Oh yeah. And here we've got the result. Come on, focus. Yeah, we've got nice 73.5 frames per second. Let's load up the image of Quake 2 in Demon Tools. ISOs, Quake 2. Yeah, I know. Quake 2. Time demo here as well. And here 57.1. Very nice for such a small machine. Okay. Next up, let's if we're at Quakes, let's play Quake 3 Arena. Sorry, let's look at the configuration first. System graphics. Now that's as high as Voodoo 2 goes before running into performance killing texture swapping, so it's like pretty high. Maximum resolution I had 800 but 600, high geometrics, free linear filtering, and like middle high texture quality. We've got the sound quality set to high. So yeah, it's on time demo on here as well. Oh, and it's the version 1.32 updated. So it's running to demos. Those are pretty fast from compact flash card. Have a look at the results. It is 30.2 frames per second. Pretty adequate. Fully playable for LAN party. And that was an average frame rate. Okay. Now let's jump into DOS compatibility, which is not great on that machine. There are no legacy sound compatibility options in BIOS setup, but I've got Settlers 2 to work properly by manually setting it to Sound Blaster Pro and General MIDI. So here's the proof of that works. Yeah. Let's see. Australia. Yeah. All works well. Settlers are working. Right. Next one. Next up, let's run maybe Unreal Tournament.
In 2291, in an attempt to control violence among deep space miners, the New Earth government legalized no-holds-barred fighting. The Andrew Mining Corporation, working with the NEG, established a series of leagues and bloody public exhibitions. The fight's popularity grew with their brutality. Soon, Leandri discovered that the public matches were their most profitable enterprise. The Professional League was formed, a cabal of the most violent and skilled warriors in known space, selected to fight in a grand tournament. Now it is 2341. 50 years have passed since the founding of Deathmatch. Profits from the tournament number in the hundreds of billions. You have been selected to fight in the Professional League by the Leandri Rules Board. Your strength and brutality are legendary. The time has come to prove you are the best. To crush your enemies. To win the tournament.
Look to the settings. So it's set to run in 3D Glide mode on high detail. Now let's turn the statistics on, and I always load up my favorite map, Deck 16, to compare the performance of graphics cards. With no bots. I always go to the same location on the top with the sniper rifle. So, as you can see, performance is really good. That's pretty much the slowest spot on the map. And you've got 35 frames per second. Just outstanding. It's more than you get on Super Soldier 7 platform. So it seems like that Transmeta Crusoe is performing as well as a very fast Pentium 2 or one of the early Pentium 3 CPUs. What else have I got here? That would be pretty much it for the real game tests. Now let's run some 3D marks. Oh, actually, yeah, it might be interesting what CISO Standard 99 says about that processor. Where is it? Yeah, CPU benchmark. Right. So, comparing to Intel Pentium 2 450, it's pretty much on the same level of performance. Yeah, with a bit slower floating point. Yeah, it estimated performance at PR 412. Oh, notice quite low CPU load for that test. Right, now let's see how it fares in MMX instruction sets. Oh, now that doesn't look as well. It's using MMX. It's about half of the performance of Pentium 2 450. Yeah, the MMX support is not that impressive at all. So lastly, let's run some 3D marks. Right, just so it doesn't take ages, let's leave only the important tests. I can skip that, skip that, skip that, and skip that. Okay. Oh, and we're not gonna run it on Rage XL because it's gonna be obviously slow. Let's do it on Voodoo. Go. Right, we've got 2658 3D marks and 4577 CPU 3D marks. Now if we run result browser, I've run those tests before and compared them with some results from my Super Socket 7 rig. Oh, actually, last time I've run it, I've had slightly higher results of 2731 3D marks. So let's see the details on here. Yeah, so that's the test we've just run. And then my previous tests. Got Transmeta here. 11.2, 58.4, 25. Yeah, I don't know why the last time I had slightly higher results, but it was only like about 1 frame per second higher last time I've run it. Yeah, the K62 was at 440 megahertz on Super Socket 7 platform with VIA MVP3 chipset. So the Super Socket 7 CPU scored more CPU 3D marks, but less overall results, and especially much lower frame rate in Game 2. So it looks like the Super Socket 7 platform runs much better with S3 Savage 4. The drivers are much better optimized for K62 processors, but for Voodoo, Transmeta offers much better. Yep. Lastly, we could run 3D Mark 2000. Oh, it's not there, it's there. So obviously change it to Voodoo. Yeah. It can handle. Yeah, we don't want image quality. Texture density speed. Maybe not. Bump mapping is exactly the same as in 99, so you can skip that as well. Okay. Let's see how it goes then. That may take a longer while. Now, high detail will be obviously a slideshow. Now that bug always happens on the CPU test on Voodoo 2 on all the platforms I'm testing. Right, so we got 1,399 3D marks. Let's show the details. Yeah, and that's it for today. Thank you for watching.